Welcome to SoulWhat, a SoulTopia production. Every Tuesday, Michelle and Roger Welch take a deep dive into the intriguing and proactive world of metaphysics, a world beyond our human perception. They'll talk to empaths, readers, and other guests from all walks of life to find out what's hiding under the surface, uncover the mysteries of our modern world, and reveal the answers you need to live a happy, healthier life. Now, here's your hosts, Michelle and Roger Welch.
Hello, welcome to SoulWhat. How are you doing, Roger?
Good. What about you?
I'm good. I am happy to be here. We missed last week because, man, we've just been talking to our producer, Matt Stoker. Hi, Matt. There's been some crazy sicknesses going around. We're feeling a little bit better, right?
Yeah, a little better.
Yeah?
Yep.
Just talking about energy levels. I think that's also, a lot of people have been feeling that. I was talking to people online, just not feeling like they're fully rested. So we can, talk to you guys about how y'all are feeling. And it's funny because the other day, I think Mercury went direct finally. We've been in Mercury retrograde, and everything. The day it allegedly went direct is the day, to me, it would have been totally Mercury. My phone went dead while I was doing something.
You had a couple of little layovers.
Yeah, it was like that shadow after period. Yes. So, but it's been kind of weird lately. Weird energy, and I tell you, if I cough during this show, with us, we had. I don't know, I'm just talking about being sick, but I know so many people are right now. So I'm telling you, if you really think you don't feel well, that in Texas, I wonder if it's everywhere. The flu A is going around.
Everywhere. I was talking to somebody today, and they're, oh my God. Oh yeah, I was talking to McCall, and she said, oh, we've all been sick.
And so I have a client that's a lot of doctors for clients, and I was told, use an inhaler or whatever. And I was like, why? And she said, because that cough of yours is going to last for like 7 weeks. I was like, 7? 8?
I told you to take those cough drops.
I have been. So anyway, getting old, because all we're going to talk about is the weather and health. What's wrong with me today?
Well, right? It was actually kind of nice today.
So I watched a show of y'all's that, I say of y'all's, you and Matt would enjoy. I've been watching a lot of Dave Schrader, right? Dave,
Dave.
Of his shows. He has Darkness Radio. He has Paranormal 60. And he talked about, last night, something we talked about during the beginning of the pandemic. Here I go again, talking about health. No, but about the UAEs, the UEAs, the UFOs that the government was talking about.
The rebranded UFOs.
So I would highly recommend his show last night. It was Darkness Radio, I think, on there. And it's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. Of course, I recommend our show also. But last night, he had such a great guest on. And they were talking about some incident. And clearly, I didn't watch the whole thing because I'm just going to be like, you need to watch it because I don't have all the facts straight at all. But it was something in Russia where a bunch of younger kids at one time saw an incident or saw like an alien. Y'all are going to help me fill in the gaps here. Saw an alien visitation, and all these young kids were terrorized by it. Now they've kind of grown up, and
what type of aliens were they?
I don't know. I don't have any idea.
What part of Russia was it?
I don't know. I don't have any idea.
I'm not helping her fill in. I'm just going to ask
But it was
questions.
a great show, and then he had another guy on who did kind of a fictional show, and they had to say 1 million times, and apparently it's really taken off. And he on the Phoenix something.
Are we sure it's fictional? Maybe it was based on true stories.
Just stop. It was really good, and I tell you, so I really enjoyed watching his show. So I want to just say it was y'all would like it because last night was really about. Have y'all heard of that? The Russia?
Yes.
Have you heard of that, Matt?
I was going to say that story sounds familiar, but it sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard that story before from a different place.
I thought it was
UK.
I thought it was in the UK.
Or was it in the UK?
I thought it was UK.
Well, I could have it.
I feel like, yeah.
Some part in there was, but I will tell you the guy he had on, his first name was Randall something. I
hate to say, but Randall doesn't sound like a Russian name.
He wasn't. He's the one making a documentary about it.
Maybe Vladimir.
Okay, let me get this out. So he was the one making the document, and he was very credible. You know how some people, you just like, okay, they're telling the story, and you're like, okay, I'm just not. But he was actually very compassionate feeling, like in the sense of feeling sorry for these kids. And so I can't remember.
Maybe
I
we can
really
get
don't.
Vladimir on our show and we can get all the details.
That's not his name. And he was very credible, and I really enjoyed the show last night. He had 2 guests, and I thought it was over, so I turned it off.
And then he had another guest.
And then I was like, wait, scrolling, because, I'm so used to writing. I thought,
Turned her book
need-
in. Now she has nothing to do.
I'm
She's like, what do I do?
I'm supposed to be working. I'm supposed to be feeling stressed. So it's a good show.
I've heard the story I recall, and again, I can't remember exactly where it was, but I feel like it was in the 70s or 80s maybe, and there was a sighting over a school, an elementary school, and they
Yes.
asked the kids to all draw what they saw, and everybody drew the same thing.
Yes.
So, and I don't. Maybe this has happened multiple times. I don't know, but I know I've heard that story many times, and I'm blanking on the details of it. But it's
And that is something
there
they
are parts
talked
of it.
about. That's something Dave asked about on the show. He goes, is it not interesting that sometimes we do blank on the details? And we'll see something, and we know we saw it, a lot of people who have seen them. And is there a reason that we're blanking on the details? Like, not that you're not credible, but perhaps is there, and he said it in his wonderful voice, is perhaps maybe sometimes like you just know, but all of a sudden you just can't tell all the
I know
I know
what
you're
it
about to
is.
joke, and I'm being serious.
I am too.
Okay, what?
We've all seen the movie Men in Black. They zap you.
So maybe.
Could be.
I mean, who knows? But I have no problem in believing there's other beings and everything. It's just, are they here? And also, so y'all watch that because, and I want to have Dave on the show because he's so interesting, and he agreed to come on. So Dave, you're going to come on, but it's. I wish I'm going to go back and watch the first part, and I definitely want to watch that documentary.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to, kind of get funding to get it out more, So anyway,
The other couple he has is actually really good too. A lot of good information in them too.
the other couple, what?
The documentaries that Dave has out.
So this one was by Randall.
This is the one by Randall. Okay.
Vladimir, as you called him.
Randall Vladimir.
I think it was like Randall Hurd or something like that. But really, really was, when you hear somebody and they're just very credible, and you can tell by that they have compassion for their story, not just passion, but they're compassionate about.
And they believe their story.
And because apparently those kids were traumatized when they were little.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't just like, little kids making something up. They were traumatized by the whole thing. So anyway, start with that. And what else is in the news, Roger? Our news, because ours is so different than anybody else's. What'd you get right there?
Oh, I found this game. I was showing Matt earlier. This is got to be and we haven't played it yet. I just opened it, but check this out. Stupid Deaths. It's a true and false trivia game.
Can we do
Basically.
a couple?
Look, it comes with the board, so you can go around it. Okay.
And so what does it have, like skulls, and then you start and finish with a red and a green?
Yeah, actually inside they have,
And a
what was it
circle.
they had inside? They have like these little, they have the little Grim Reaper.
Oh, the little markers
And they have,
to move.
yeah, the Grim Reaper. You have the little angels.
Okay, so
you
what?
know.
Let's just
So you
say
have
some
to,
trivia.
and it has like little game pieces to move around the board. So you have the little game pieces to move around the board and stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's a true, yeah.
It's
And
a game.
you gotta answer it true or false questions. Okay, on people's how they died.
Like Trivial
Okay.
Pursuit.
Okay, yeah,
I
it's
love
Trivial
it.
Pursuit, right?
Yes.
Or I'll just find a couple of them there. This one's a little shorter. Okay.
Are the answers on the back where you don't see them?
Yeah, so
Well,
you
you
can't
just
see 'em.
looked. Okay, so you can answer too?
Well, no, I can't because it's on the bottom of the page.
That's what I just asked.
Yeah. No, he's,
Here, let me
Okay.
see if I can.
somebody's
I'll
got to
pull
have
one.
the answer.
I'll pull the where and flip it where I can't see it.
Ouch, you're
All
gonna
right. See, I
cheat.
couldn't see it. All right. Ray Murphy, born 1958, died 1985. While on holiday in Antigua, Murphy entered a banana eating competition at his hotel's bar. After eating 5 bananas, Murphy began to choke, turning blue. The banana stuck in his throat, suffocating him.
True.
I believe it. That sounds like something that could happen.
Oh, it definitely sounds like something could happen.
Yeah.
But it's false.
Oh, well.
Okay.
It's a good
Definitely
story.
sounds
It's a
like
good
something
story.
could happen.
They sold it in being plausible.
Maybe I did, but I was a good reader on that one.
Okay, maybe.
All right, here we go. All right, cover this one. John Horrocks, born 1818, died 1846. So just wasn't even 30 years old. Yeah. Horrocks was a pioneer and explorer of the 19th century Australia. There you go, right there. Australia tells you everything.
Okay. Could be anything, I guess.
Exactly. He subjected himself to constant risk of death in thousands of truly dangerous situations. Ultimately, he died when he was an ill-tempered camel, while shifting its weight, accidentally hit the trigger of Horrocks' gun. Camels in Australia. You got that, right?
So that would be false?
I mean, you could bring a camel to Australia. I feel like it'd probably do okay down there. So I'm gonna say true on that one.
Actually, I'm going to go true on that because
You tried to lead me astray.
Yeah, I did. Because I know for a fact Australia has an issue with camels.
Oh, really?
Like, they have like camels overrunning the country, and they're not just, they're feral camels and they're mean.
Well, then why'd you say that?
Because I just want to
I'm
see if
changing
you
my
knew.
answer to true.
It is true, by the way.
Oh,
And
there
let
we
me
go.
read one.
There we go.
I'm
That's
gonna
like, that's like kangaroos are pests down there too.
Oh, yeah.
So are
kangaroos are pests,
koalas
too.
apparently, because I talked to Ethany.
I told
who
you about
lives-
the koalas.
is
We
from
told you
there.
about those.
I know, and
You
I
don't
thought
wanna
y'all were
pet 'em.
both lying, and we're not revisiting that. But anyway, she said no, it's all true. All right, I'm trying to not cheat. Okay, Catherine McNamara, born 1841, died 1970. McNamara was observing a funeral in a suburb of Sydney, Australia, where apparently they have a camel, koala, and a what problem? Something else problem. Kangaroo problem. During the procession, McNamara
Probably dolphins,
had
too.
just made the remark, "Wonder who will be next," when she was overcome with a seizure that proved fatal. She was watching a funeral in a suburb. She said, "I wonder who will be next."
Nah, that's false.
Sounds like a tale.
That's a
to me.
made up.
I'm gonna say
Made up.
You're
false
going
on
with
that.
false?
Urban myths.
I'm going to go with true just to shake it up. It's true. Boom, 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 boom. Ring that bell. Boom. Okay, so, and I didn't see the answer, but
right,
here
one
we go
more.
again.
What do you
One
got?
more, and then we're stopping. I'm going to try to read it. Okay, Sylvester Paul, 1768 to 1801. As a fruit and vegetable vendor in a London market, Paul was very proud of his displays. He piled his produce high to attract customers from around the market. However, one day he went too high. The display collapsed, pummeling poor Paul to death with his produce.
With fruit?
He was
Seriously?
killed by fruit that he piled too high.
How high? You couldn't have
And this
all
was
high
in a
fruit.
London market.
What are they? Were they watermelons?
Apparently
What
the-
were they?
I call
camel knocked
bullshit.
it down.
I call bullshit.
I'm gonna say no on that one. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
No,
know that
there's
about
no
that.
way.
I'm going to go truth just to shake it up. False.
Yeah. There you can't pile enough fruit high enough to kill you.
Okay, well, we'll do more of those later at some
What,
point.
banana hit you in the head?
Yeah.
Woohoo.
Stupid deaths. Stupid deaths. That was fun. Here you go.
Yeah.
All right. So also fun is the subject of crystals. And one of the fun things about crystals, and we've done a little version of this before, Matt. If you recall, we've done some. But what we're going to try to do tonight is not get bogged down too much. So if I'm getting too bogged down, y'all just like hit the gong.
Okay.
You remember that show, the Gong
Yeah.
Show? And that's got to hurt
Like
everybody's
that?
ears. So there are structures to crystals. Every crystal has a structure. This is the important part. And it has an internal structure. You can't change that. So there are 8 of those if you include the one that doesn't have a structure. Okay, so there's 7 structures, and they can correlate to our personalities. Now, we're going to, there's either a deck or a really good companion guidebook coming out with that. So that'll be available to y'all. Y'all know we have crystal cards too. So here's the thing. We're going to go over one of them, like the amorphous one, because Leslie, that listens to this show a lot, Leslie with the Z, don't know if she's on tonight, but when we were sick, we were supposed to do it then. I got her permission. So she took my crystal certification class, and this was actually a separate class, and we had a lot of people come. And you can actually get a consultation on this if you want here at SoulTopia.
What does that class entail?
It entails taking a quiz,
Okay.
and then you don't know which you're. And first of all, unless you know about crystals, you wouldn't know I'm going to rig it where I get this type of
This
personality.
is like a personality quiz.
It's a personality quiz, but it's based on, then it's like, it's going to be a cubic crystal, a hexagonal, one of those 8 categories. That is not something I made up. That is from geologists, right? Mineral
It is.
specialists, things like that.
It's actually science.
It's scientific. And there's these categories. But then, based on that, just to give you an idea, Matt, cubic would be very structured. Fluorite is cubic. So I need more structure because we all know I am very ADHD and very unorganized.
We hadn't
so
noticed.
I need more of that. The other end of the spectrum would be amorphous that has absolutely, so cubic has a lot of structure. The other end of that is like amorphous. It has no structure, no form. Because it's not really usually a crystal, but we call them crystals, like obsidian, amber, pearls, coral, jet, carbons, tektites, moldavite. So the reason that we'd want to know this, once you take the quiz, which I wrote and Roger wrote, once you take the quiz, which we're not going to give on here tonight, it would take too much time. I'll give a couple little hints. A lot of times you might want to reaffirm your personality. Like, this represents my personality. But what I kind of want to do is I'm going to go, what's going to help me? If I'm unorganized, what structure might I need? And that would help me know what kind of crystal I also need. We go even more complicated in our book and our deck in that we associate it. Then we break them down into, what sign you are. And so there's a whole lot of things you can do with the cards or the book to know which crystal. But keeping it simple tonight, did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's basically, there's these different structures. You can't see it from, and this is something that's kind of, you can't see it from the external shape of the crystal. Okay, they may all look like they're round tumbled crystals or whatever. They may all look the same externally, but this is their internal system, their internal makeup, which is science, okay? And they've been categorized. And so then we wrote a quiz to go along with how that usually is, because cubic usually is pretty, it's a square. I mean, they have certain shapes to them, and like a parallelogram or anything like that. And amorphous, of course, is like a blob, like it's a no form whatsoever. So there's cubic to amorphous and everything in between. So Leslie got amorphous, which is basically, I'll give you just an idea so you can know. So what's interesting about it is that you may pick a crystal based on many things. It's pretty. I just like the color of it. This is what I want it, and that's great. It calls to you because of that. But to really base it on the fact that this is something that could really help me, because it's going to, if I'm, being very unorganized and I can't get my work done, and I put a fluorite or a pyrite, which is also cubic, on my desk, it's going to help me be more organized, or I wear it on my wrist with one of our bracelets, right? Okay. So that's the idea behind it. And people always love to take quizzes about, their personality and where they fall. And there's a lot that are kind of in the middle that are a little bit close, right? Okay. So the amorphous one is like, and there's 5 things I wrote down. Like, it's no structure. I've already said everything in life's an adventure. Like, you can just pick up and do anything, and just like, you don't care about change is great to you. You're not hesitant. You can walk away without a care in the world, and you really mean it. Like, some people say, oh, I can just walk from that and I don't care, but you really can. And really, like, you could walk from anything, give them no notice, and you'd be just fine. You wouldn't worry about it, what they thought about it, anything. You would never look back. Just like, okay, I'm on to the next thing. Life's a journey. I don't care. And it doesn't mean you're rude. You're just amorphous. You can change in a moment's notice. And you don't conform. So this is like a major kind of hippie type, right? I mean, and Leslie fits the category. It's very extreme to be amorphous. Like, you really are saying, I really can just do whatever I want and not care. Not in a mean way, but maybe. Moldavite. Do you have a piece to show?
I do. I've got a little piece of moldavite.
So let's say...
Actually, I'm lying. This is a huge piece of moldavite.
Let's say you're really uptight. You don't ever like change. You care what other people think. You want your structure every day to be the same. You're cubic, the opposite end of the spectrum. You might want to get some moldavite to help with that, because you might want to balance that out a little bit. You're really just so uptight that, and you know what, with cubic, you expect other people to be that way. That's a part of the issue with some of the cubic people, is not only do you expect yourself to be super responsible and always on top of everything, and you're so hard on yourself, you are just as hard on everybody else as a cubic. So guess what? You might want to put some amorphous in your life. So Roger has this.
Moldavite. This is actually, you can see the shape of this one is where it went up into the air, cooled super fast as it was dropping more like this, and got the shape.
So if they're listening, the shape is like.
It probably, when they dug it out, they probably cracked it. Because it was probably.
But you could see that it could be a drop or something.
Yeah.
If it were.
And that's the better ones that people always want, are those that are the drop style. If it had been like this, on down, this would have been probably like a $10,000 piece.
Think about it, though. It looks almost like a tree, like, the triangle-shaped tree. Well, if you point it up the other way.
You mean like this?
Yeah.
A Christmas tree.
Right. But inside, it's like just the structure of it is just, there's no form whatsoever. Okay? So the external, what you're looking at.
Because the lights are there and I can see through it, and it's got
that's a beautiful piece. So how much is that?
$1,540.
Don't lose it.
Yeah.
That's not our giveaway for tonight.
No.
That is not our giveaway for tonight. No.
This would be a cool pendant, though. I was just sitting here thinking I should just wrap it.
So we've talked about moldavite before and why the prices have gone up. If you really have real moldavite, we just watched that show back. We can. It's probably been about a year ago when that happened.
So in Leslie's case, she picked something, or took the quiz, got amorphous. And are you saying that that's what she should then focus on in terms of getting a crystal, or?
So she might be drawn to a lot of amorphous crystals. So she'd come in and she changes her hair color every week, right? And she's pink, it's purple, it's, but she's drawn to all of that. But so of course she's going to be drawn to anything that's amorphous in structure. All those things I mentioned, moldavite, pearl, name some more, jet, obsidian, probably rainbow obsidian for her. But what she might really need is something to counterbalance, because counterbalance.
Kind of the opposite.
Right.
Yeah, so to really balance that out. So we might kind of guide her if we had a consultation, or she came in and she's like, woohoo, I don't care about a thing. F you, I'm out of here. And she wouldn't say that, but she might. And so she would then probably need a cubic, which would be, we'll talk about that one now. So, but you wouldn't have to go. So if you think of it like on a spectrum, like cubic, and then the ones we're going to mention, and then amorphous being at the other end. So you've got totally organized, I can't stand change, everybody better act just like me, and you better have your act together, or I probably won't ever forgive you, to woohoo, don't care, do whatever you want, I'm going to do whatever I want, everybody's good, the part lasts. Then you could go maybe to the first cubic, or maybe the second, if there's just like no way, somebody's going to want to have cubic in their life if they're amorphous. They might not ever want to feel that way.
Yeah.
It might just be like, I am miserable with that pirate near me. Like, get it away. So I fall somewhere in the middle. And when we get to them, I'll tell you I'm monoclinic. But cubic, Roger, do we have that big piece of fluorite?
You bet.
So, so you would want to go to kind of the other end of the spectrum. But why would you, to answer your question, Matt, why would you want the one that you are and a crystal of that? Number one, you'd be drawn to it. Number two, if you're just wanting to embrace your personality and say, yay, this is who I am. Look at this piece of fluorite.
And because this was cut as a slab, you guys can see that. It's almost an inch thick. But you can see the structure.
Yeah.
Because you can see how the lines run in it. You can actually see the structure in this.
Yeah, there's like 90-degree angles in there.
Yeah, that's that cubic structure in this piece.
I don't know if it's picking up on camera, but you can definitely see it in here.
Let me see. Yeah.
See it? Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
So, Roger, you want to tell them about the qubit or the? So I keep fluoride. With another thing, fluoride is good for, just to let you know, which makes sense, is if you're not great at math. So you can, and numbers, pyrite and fluoride are both good for that. If you're having to crunch numbers for your job, you would want to keep some of that near you. But if you are not organized,
It's also a good one to take to school with you.
absolutely.
Yeah, if you're still in school or taking classes of some sort and you need a little extra oomph to help you focus and study, this is a great one. And we do have these in like little octahedron styles, different sizes. I think there's some small ones out there. It's probably like 1/4 to 3/8 of an
We
inch.
have all kinds of
all the way
fluoride.
up to probably 1.5 inches. We even have some little like coins where they're easy to throw in a pocket or something and take with you too.
And it really makes a difference when I have it with me. So cubic, if you want to go for it, what are some signs of the cubic structure? I've been talking about it. So this would be the beginning of the other end of the spectrum of amorphous.
Yeah, this would actually be some people that are more structured. They're more orderly. They probably make lists of everything that they're doing. They stay in lines at school. They don't, or not only at school, but probably at the airport. They're probably following lines of people.
They don't color outside the lines.
Yeah, they don't. They stay inside the box, right? They really good at setting up their boundaries and staying within their boundaries. They aren't going to go outside the boundaries, and they're also the people that are very responsible and reliable. You can, if they tell you they're going to be there at 6 o'clock, they'll be there at 6 o'clock.
And guess what? You better too,
Yeah.
or they're never going to forget it.
Michelle,
Okay.
Michelle,
No, believe me, I've had a
Michelle.
lot of friends who are cubic and they don't like me. Okay.
they're like, "Damn it, Michelle, we were here waiting for you 20 minutes ago."
Which is the last one. Is
Yeah, expect others to be the same way.
So if you're not, and you find out somebody has, and that it's extreme too. It's just as extreme as of amorphous. So when people test on this, if they test cubic or they test amorphous, they have strong personalities one way or the other. They are either really uptight, and I mean this, like they are maybe almost like OCD about this is how it has to be, or they are, just woo. So fluoride is, and I love fluoride, you guys, and I actually started loving fluoride so much when I started working with it, and I figured out what it would help me with. It wasn't that was one I was naturally drawn to. I was naturally drawn to one that's actually in my system. So you want to do the next one?
So the hexagonal.
So you kind of, am I making it?
Yeah.
And keep asking questions because it's helping me.
So,
No, and I mean, and that sounds like something that would be good to take to work with you, like you said, take to school, have it in places where you need to be focused, but maybe not always, unless
Yeah.
you just really need it.
Yeah. And that's what I'm thinking, because it's these are the extremes, those two, and then it gets a little fuzzy the more we get to the middle of the spectrum, right? If you're taking a test, so it's like our test. I believe I culled it down to like 10. I used to have 20. We did it down to like 10, I think.
so.
Yeah. So
and plus, you could have some characteristics follow kind of a little bit back and forth.
absolutely,
Yeah.
because of course you don't want to just have one crystal. You can get a lot of them. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so this next one is actually the blue apatite, and here it is. This is a free form.
Oh, God, that's a beautiful
It's
piece.
kind of actually pretty heavy. We don't have the weight. I'm going to say this is probably about 1.5 kilograms, 1.25 kilograms. So it's a pretty heavy piece.
Beautiful.
Yeah, nice blue of apatite. And this is actually hexagonal. Okay, this is hexagonal, so a little different than cubic, but very efficient people here. People that are goal driven, so they like to set goals and they like to hit those goals. Might not delegate
Why do you think?
because they like to be in control of everything. Yeah, so they
Nobody's
don't-
going to do it
they're
as well as they are going to do
just-
it, right?
I'm sorry, Michelle, you're just not going to do it as well as I will.
Yeah, I just do it myself.
I'll just do it myself, damn it. Very much a planner. Plan things out as they're going along, and very independent. These are the people you can just tell them, "Hey, I need this done," and it'll get done. You don't need to ask why, how, or anything else. Just depend. It will get done.
And at this end of the spectrum, and when I say spectrum, at the end of the, measuring stick of these 8 categories, people do not like change. They're very efficient with time. So this is where these two, the cubic and the hexagonal, they're close, but you're getting a little more flexible as you go in, but not much more. So, they're not going to be real spontaneous. You call and go, hey, you want to go see this concert with me? They're like, you should have called me 3 months ago, 6 months ago. Not just because their schedule's busy. They're just not. No, I have plans for tonight. And we plan out our whole day a week in advance, right? So that's not going to jive with me because I am not that way at all.
Hell no.
So why would I want
plan
a
to watch
hexagonal
Netflix.
crystal? So I am very
I'm Netflix and chilling tonight.
I'm really drawn to those. Why would I be? To like an apatite. Number one, it's beautiful, but also because I need more. I need to be more efficient. I am goal driven. I totally will delegate though, and maybe. So you just kind of look at it and see what I need help in this area. Okay. Yeah.
Makes sense.
All right. So I'll do. You want me to do?
Sure.
So the next category is the most crystals of any of the categories. So if you think rose quartz or clear quartz or any,
I got the little.
just it has the
little
most.
ahead.
Some of these are very sparse on crystals. Like when we were doing it, Roger was taking the pictures and things. We were like, okay, this is a really ugly category of crystals. I'm sorry, but some of them were just like, ew. But this trigonal is the name of this one. So trigonal, think about it. It's probably going to have a bit of a triangle structure in the middle of it. You can get real detailed if you like geometry about the angles that y'all were talking about. But it's the most heavily populated with crystals of the categories. The most, so it could be, we had to really call this category down because I think we did 10 of each.
Because it had like all the quartz stuff was in it.
Oh, yeah, so many. So this is green aventurine, and green aventurine's actually great for your heart chakra. It's also great for, so many different things, but anything with green aventurine is great also for, it's known as the gambler's stone. So I'm not going to tell you that you're going to go in if you use it, but hey, that's what it's known as, but it's also great for your heart chakra. So we're at trigonal, so it's the most, probably you're going to be drawn to some of the crystals in this category, okay? So it's only the third on the structures as we're getting to amorphous, okay? So think of this. They like the path of least resistance. I think of one of my sons this way. It's like, okay, really? Why are we having to put all this work into this when really we could just do it this way? Like, why are you making this so difficult?
Right.
They steer clear of drama. It's like real, and again, why do you have to make it? And I wrote no drama again. So 2 of my points were no drama. They're not lazy, but they don't need to prove anyone all that they've done. It's not important to them that everybody knows. So now think about cubic. They're just like, they're doing their thing, and you better do it too. But here, trigonal, we're getting to, it's just this just get it done attitude.
Yeah.
So when you look at astrology and you're starting to look at, is it a fixed sign, a cardinal sign, or a mutable sign, that's when you start knowing where these fall in. We won't go on to that because I said we can get too into it. But it gets really cool. So this is somebody who's like, okay, really? Stop. We're not going to do this. No. And, but they're not going to get into the drama, but they're thinking it. They're like, okay, I'll come back in 30 minutes when they stop talking about all this nonsense and they have it figured out, and I'll just do it my way and it'll get done. And I don't need any credit for it. And that's a big category of crystals, right?
Yep.
All the quartz. And actually, green aventurine does fall in the quartz family. A lot of people don't know that, but it does.
Yep.
Okay?
Yep.
So who would need that? A lot of people. I think a lot of people could use that attribute of no drama and just chill out. Just chill it out. So, and there's a lot of crystals to choose from for that, right? Okay. So it may not be that you need an opposite on this one. You just need that characteristic of just calm it down. It's okay. Just
That
get it
sounds
done.
generally, I don't know what the downside of that would be, but that sounds generally like a pretty good thing.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then you want to do the next one?
Which one do you have next?
So orthorhombic.
Okay, orthorhombic, which is iolite.
We have as an example. Now these, we chose which ones to use. So there's a lot more, obviously.
Iolite gallet piece. about the size of a bar soap, a little smaller bar soap.
And just so you know, iolite, just so to let y'all know, iolite is known, it's probably the closest stone to be a lot of people say lapis or lapis lazuli. Iolite's actually the closest to being a great stone for your third eye. Okay.
Wow.
Tape it like I used to. Moldavite to my forehead, to my third eye.
So with the orthorhombic, okay, these are actually, they don't need credit. They don't care to get credit for, things they've done. They're also goal driven. So they do like to set up their goals, and they do like to hit those goals.
Mm-hmm.
They probably reward themselves for it. They're more about that part of it, making sure they reward themselves for it, not a pat on the back for it. Right. They have everything together. Okay. So they're, those are the people like, oh, damn, they got it all going on.
The keywords appear.
Yeah.
They appear.
They appear, whatever's going on, they seem like they do. Pretty much empathy. They adjust their mood to the other people that are around them. So they do pick up on the people's energy that's around them. So if they're around people that are very high energy, they're going to have high energy. If they're around people that are a little bit more down, they might feel a little more down. So they feed off of what's happening around them all the time.
Right.
Those people do. And they can also very easily get off track. Okay. Very easily get off track.
The wheels can come off.
Yeah.
Okay. So easily. Yeah. So there are some downsides to this one. I mean, they're struggling. They're good people. They're empathic. They have compassion for others. They do pick up energy easily. This the Magic Connection book talks a lot about that. So people in that category, Roger, would probably orthorhombic stones would be really good for you. The thing is when you use iolite, that's like I said, a stone for the third eye. It's almost like, are you turning that up a little bit? I think it's helping you discern. Your third eye helps you discern. It's not just about being intuitive and psychic. It's actually helping you see things. You see the truth more clearly with your third eye if you're using it properly, or if you want to use it that way. You see through things more clearly. So orthorhombic, and a lot of people have that. They just see, this is the part of a quiz where if somebody's not being truthful, this is not going to work. Okay, you have to be truthful. Not what you want to be, but what you really are. Okay, so my wheels come off sometimes, like pretty easily. Like, people's moods affect me. So I'm probably getting closer to where I might be, right?
Yep.
So, goal driven. I appear oftentimes. Maybe people think you have it together, and really, behind the scenes, the wheels are coming off. So, that could be. So you have to be honest on with yourself for this to work. Okay.
Yep.
So I love the crystal we chose for the next one. We chose one of my favorites, lepidolite. You want to go?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So isn't that beautiful? So this is a purple lepidolite. Lepidolite is a natural source of lithium. So lepidolite will very much calm you down. I've always say it on here. I'm not ashamed to say it. I mean, I very much have adult ADHD, and I don't choose. I'm not against it. I just don't choose to take medication because actually it puts me to sleep. So within about 20 minutes. So lepidolite's beautiful. That's a gorgeous piece, Roger.
That's a nice one.
Yeah. So monoclinic is what this one is. And I know it's confusing. We can help you with it. You don't to memorize these names, but so this is like people that are monoclinic. And I don't want to say, but remember what I just said. It's a source of lithium. Now, I know lithium to be sometimes for people who, and I'm not a doctor, but, kind of have great highs and great lows. It's not necessarily that, you have to diagnose them with manic depression or bipolar, but they do. They have great successes, but then they feel their lows very intensely. And they not only feel it, that's what their life is like. It'll swing from really high highs to really low lows. So they're not just imagining it. That their life is like that. It's almost like paralyzing defeat that they can have. They're mood driven. If their mood's good, then they're on it. If their mood's not good, the wheels come off pretty easily. They're intuition driven. So even more than that, just empathic, they are really ruled by their intuition. And then small things can just send them under. A little bitty thing, okay, like me. Can't find my brush, not going on that trip. Roger's like, well, we can probably get the brush at the Target that's in wherever we're going. We're not going to the middle of nowhere. And I'm like, nope, it's not going to happen. It's
Pretty sure.
cancel the trip. And I've done that. I can't tell you how many times in my life. So that's kind of how this person is. And they are talented, but they want somebody to remind them, not because of ego necessarily. They just need a boost. They get really hard on themselves. So so I'm going to be honest with you. Monoclinic is I would probably test in here. And one of my favorite crystals is lepidolite. It's because I need it. I need that. And lithium will help with anxiety. It will help with stress. And one of the crystals and bracelets we sell most in this store is lepidolite, because many people that come in this store are highly intuitive. That's why they're coming in many times. And so it doesn't mean you're monoclinic, but you may feel those ups and downs, okay? Because you're in tune with them.
Yep.
So, you want to go to the next one?
Sure. So the next one is triclinic, and we actually in this one have black kyanite. There's a piece
Now,
of
y'all,
black
this is one of the coolest
kyanite.
pieces.
See that piece? Pretty cool.
Usually these are the little slivers. I want y'all to know it looks almost like a fan, or from the side it almost looks like turn it sideways. Like an eagle, or I don't know, some sort of turn it.
Porcupine.
Porcupine. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Not an eagle. Yeah, that way it does. But if you turn it, okay, with sound effects too.
Yeah.
Black kyanite is great for clearing, for sweeping energy that you don't want off. Just use it like a broom. Just sweep the energy off. So, Roger, read those. Would you?
So triclinic people are more mood driven, okay? But they also like to be left alone. They like to just their own downtime, interacting with themselves a lot. Easily can walk away. So if they have a situation they're not pleased with, don't like the outcome, don't like how they're being treated, out the door they go. They can walk right away. It doesn't bother them one bit.
Right.
Time is nothing. Okay, they don't keep up with time. They don't wear a watch properly. They just, they're on their own time schedule. They show up when they want to show up. They leave when they want to leave.
It's also elusive to them a little bit. It's like, do y'all know, like some people are just very aware of time. I'm just never aware of time.
Yeah.
I literally, I'm like, where's the clock? Because I'm never aware of how much time's gone by. I forget what month we're in. And that's not because I'm getting older. I have done that since I was little.
Yeah.
Like, what month is it? And so it's the really getting closer to that amorphous. We're one or two away from that amorphous category where they're just like ungrounded.
Yeah.
Okay.
They care what others think of them. They do care, even though they might easily walk away from it. That they care what that person may think too. Okay, and sometimes they seem very confident, and sometimes they have total doubt about themselves. So they're always either that high, low about their own self-confidence and self-worth.
Yeah. And so in these kind of middle ones, it's kind of like maybe the crystal. On the other ones, on the extremes, you might want a different crystal, Matt. What would you do? And the ones kind of in the middle, it's more that the crystal that is associated with it might help you. Does that make so? It's a little switch here.
Yeah.
I'm feeling.
Well, it sounds like you're trying to move towards the middle.
Right.
If you're too extreme one end, you need to overcorrect, and if you're more in the middle, you just need small adjustments or something like that.
Yeah,
maybe.
don't you? And don't.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's life, right? So and that black kyanite's a really, first of all, that piece that we have, that's in my room, and that's a beautiful piece.
Yeah.
So the next to last, we've already covered amorphous, so this will be our last one because it's the seventh one. Remember, we talked about amorphous already. It's tetragonal,
Yep.
and this is
That's cool.
This
These
is
are
isn't that
apopholites.
cool? This is known as the Reiki stone, but it's so many other things. I would not ever limit it to that. It's a very high ascension stone,
These aren't cut like this. This is actually how these are formed.
and that's a
Like
big
a little
one.
pyramid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So tetragonal, we used apophyllite as the choice for tonight. People remember at the beginning, people don't like change at all. Okay, like it's like no changes. You better not change the schedule on me. Tetragonal, they love change. Okay, we're we're one away from amorphous. They love to shake things up. I mean, they probably are shit stores. Just excuse my language, but let's just shake it up. Let's change things. They love change, and they'll even create change if it's not happening, they're going to create it. They love adventure, so they go up in the hot air balloon. I will not.
Why?
Scared
Just
to
a
death.
balloon?
Scared to death
Just
of
a
heights.
balloon?
No,
Did you
not
watch
going to happen.
Up?
Never going to happen.
Didn't you watch Up?
I did.
I
but
didn't.
I did. I like
But
that.
I know
It's a
that he
cute
floated
movie.
off in a balloon.
It's a sweet little movie. I like this one. They like to know why. You know how kids, why? But they also have an answer for everything. So no matter what you say to them, they're going to have an answer. So they totally have it together in their mind of like, they have an answer. But yet they want adventure and change and they're living life to the fullest. So that's apophyllite. And then, of course, we get to the amorphous that has absolutely no structure. And it can get really complicated in the sense of I practically failed geometry, so forget about it. But those are the types. And then you can also just, go into like colors of what colors, and like Roger can do an aura photo of you. And like if your aura maybe needs some balancing, same thing. Like if you are all one thing and maybe you need to balance that out with something else, or your chakras, right? So there's so many ways to go to do it. It's really, really interesting. So I don't know, was it about 10 years ago, came up with crystal consultations. And you can make an appointment and have a crystal consultation. It's one of my favorite things to do. I used to have you answer 500 questions, not these.
What? It was 500 questions a thing?
And people
Matt,
did it.
I think Matt needs to do it.
People did it. It'd be like,
Try it. I'll try it.
it would be like, these were different questions. These weren't quizzing you on what category you were. These were like, I overeat, or I need help with confidence, or just anything you can think of. And then they were in categories. But again, I'm real big about not giving away because I know what people do. At least I know what I do. I can figure it out. Oh,
Yeah.
this is what this one's doing. And so people cheat. We cheat. We just aren't honest with ourselves about usually. Some people, when you're taking the quiz. So yeah, it was like, so I'm going to try to cull that down a little bit but then you could come in and I would have spent lots of hours saying, okay, these are the main crystals that you need. Then now I will tie in the crystal personality because I would have you take this too. Yeah. It's a lot of work. Do you don't remember?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
With 8,000 questions.
Yeah, I think I had a
It takes
lot
you 2
more.
hours
And
just to
then you
take
were
the
like,
test.
nobody's going
I
to
can
take
imagine, yeah.
And then I'm
Times
wondering,
are-
wait, am I INTF or ITNTA?
No, I don't.
or-
I don't do it. It's schizophrenic. I'm not joking. Every time I take a test, I get a different answer.
Yeah.
Every single time. I asked when I asked the psychologist about that. I was like, I get a different answer every time, and I was like, what does that mean? They were like, it means you're answering the test different every time you take
All right.
it. No, seriously.
I know.
Yeah. So.
We have a meeting in a few minutes. What else we
Okay.
got?
Well, what I want to say is, I'm not just saying you should have a crystal consultation. I want you to know a lot of people ask, how do I choose a crystal? Keep that in mind. You can just choose by what you like. It's fine. Whatever color you like. This will look good in my house. People decorate with it in their house because why not pick something that feels good to you? But then you might want to ask, what would this be? And if you knew, I'm drawn to something, like I'm drawn to lapillite of something that I actually needed to kind of balance me out a little bit, then it's very interesting to know that you've actually are drawn to something that you needed.
Yeah.
I didn't know I wasn't drawn to fluorite. I really wasn't drawn to pyrite that much. But now that I know that they can help me, there's always a piece of fluorite on my desk. Pyrite is also good for abundance and manifestation and all those kinds of things, prosperity, the gold and the green. Crystals are good for that. So it's very interesting to begin to tie them in. And it's not a proven science, but testing people over time, I have seen that it really does make a difference. I want to tell you one more thing. Will you hold up that piece of blue apatite?
Yes.
So the blue apatite, that's a beautiful piece. That, if you put that, let's say you were in a situation at work or at home where there was like a lot of arguing. If you put that piece of blue apatite, which was, I can't remember which one that is, but it was towards the beginning. I think it's the second one. Yeah, hexagonal. So let's say somebody was all goal driven. They're very efficient. They're a planner. They're independent. And say you're arguing because they're like that. If they had that blue apatite and they put it in the middle of a room, it can turn like black. I've seen it happen with numerous people to know, and it's not they had smoke in there or whatever. I'm telling you, it will take on the energy for you. And people are like, oh, but that's mean to the crystal. No, the crystal's wanting to do that for you. So there's so many cool things with crystals. The last thing I want to say about crystals is we get to know at SoulTopia, Roger especially has gotten to know. We go year after year to the same people, and we get rid of people that we do not think are ethical or mining from ethical sources.
They've been calling me for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All of them been calling me. Y'all, will I see y'all this week, next week? When are y'all coming?
So that's another
Yeah.
another subject for another day of, you don't want to have almost like a blood diamond. And so that can be another show that we have. And I would love to tell you guys about
Yeah.
that and how we are very careful and conscientious who we buy from, because it is something. There are some areas that you don't want to buy crystals from, and we are very aware of that. So that is what I wanted to tell you guys tonight. And I hope you enjoyed it, because it becomes really cool when you realize what crystal and how to kind of play with them on the spectrum,
Yep.
right, of where you are. So, yeah. And if you want to book a crystal consultation, I think there's a spot on mine, on michellewelch.com for that. We'll make sure there's still a spot, but just you can check for a session for that. And if you don't want to answer 500 questions, that's fine. Yeah. And do we have time to do quick reading? We do not tonight. So, well, let's draw one crystal card, and you tell them what it is for the week. Here it is from our SoulTopia deck. You want to show them?
All right. Okay, so reading for the week.
Can't see
it. You can't.
Oh, I see it now. Crocodile jasper.
It's crocodile jasper is what it does. It's also known, crocodile jasper is also known as Kambaba jasper.
Mm-hmm.
Stone of peace and tranquility. Comforts and protects, calms and relaxes, soothes troubled minds, restores balance to the body and spirit, great for meditation. So for crystal of the week is crocodile jasper, Kambaba jasper. And what I get from this is this is a time of reflection for you, and you need to take the time to relax. You need to take a time just for yourself and take advantage of it. It's basically like recharging your own batteries. This is the time to do it. Recharge your batteries and get ready to attack the world next week.
And these cards are made by us at SoulTopia. It has our mural from Bishop Arts by Jared Detox Davies on the back of our Crystal City with the angel watching over the Crystal City of Dallas. I think that is so cool still. Yep. It's, to me, one of the prettiest. So many people. If you go down there and you take your picture, you can post it on all the Dallas mural website and
people do it all the time.
Hashtag. And
I was on the roof down there today, and somebody stopped and took a selfie in front of it.
Why were you on the roof?
Christmas lights fell off. I had to pull them back up.
Oh my gosh! All right.
Yeah, especially when that ladder slipped.
Okay, so will we be in town next week for our show?
Yes, we'll be back.
So we will be here next week.
Yes.
And anything else?
And that's it. Just make sure you follow us, give us a like, give us a share on everything, all platforms. I don't care if it's TikTok, YouTube. Make sure you do on YouTube. Go over there and watch. And if you want to know more about crystals, guys, there's so much on YouTube that we have filmed. Go to Michelle SoulTopia. We have got so much information about crystals, crystal structures, crystal readings. I don't even know what else on there. There's
lot.
so much. Yeah. So take the time, go over there, check it out. And that's it for this week. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great evening.
Thanks,
See you
Matt.
next week.
As always. Good night, you guys.
Good night, guys.
Thanks for listening to SoulWhat, a SoulTopia production. If you're intrigued, searching, or looking to schedule a reading of your very own, visit us in sunny Dallas, Texas, or visit us online at facebook.com/SoulTopia Holistic Boutique. And if you like what you heard, subscribe, rate, and review on your favorite podcasting platform to be the first to hear new episodes every Tuesday at 7:30 Central.